Now that we've drawn a sentence diagram, it would be nice to be able to present it in 8.5 by 11 inch size. This template file has a slide size that's nowhere near those dimensions. If we check the slide size here, we see that it's landscape format rather than portrait orientation, and the width is 13 inches, height is 11. That's nowhere near the 8.5 by 11 that we need. So how can we convert this to 8.5 by 11? Well, there are a couple of ways we can do this. Let's first zoom out so that we see the whole slide on one screen. And the next thing I'm going to do is drag a selection rectangle around the whole diagram. You'll have to decide whether or not you also want to include the text of the passage at the top of the page. I'm going to go ahead and include that box. I'm going to press delete just to make sure that in fact I had selected everything I wanted. It's all gone, so it must have been selected, so I hit undo to bring it back, and then I'm doing Control C now to copy. And then let's go over to Microsoft Word, where we have a new document waiting here, and if I hit Control V to paste, this is what I get. That is decidedly not what I want. We could give up too soon and think that you can't copy and paste into Microsoft Word, but you really can. Under the paste command, there is a paste special box, and we can choose picture formats. And the Microsoft Office graphic object is the one that gave us the gibberish that we didn't want. Bitmap is usually pretty serviceable. Some of these other forms may be a little bit more efficient in terms of storage requirements, but let's just choose the bitmap option. And now we see our diagram like we want it. Now you should be aware that this is not editable. If I try to select Word to change or drawing object to reconfigure a little bit, I will not be able to select anything. It's all or nothing as a snapshot. So if you're going to save your diagrams in this format for 8.5 by 11 presentation, you probably also want to save your PowerPoint files in the event that you need to go back and do some editing. You won't have to start from scratch. Now right within PowerPoint is another option. And so let me show you what you could do within PowerPoint. This time I'm going to drag my selection rectangle around the whole diagramming tools palette and delete it. If you don't want your margin boxes, which you probably don't, you would delete those as well if you haven't already done so. Now I'll resize the slide to 8.5 by 11. And you might think that you can just pick letter size off of this drop-down box, but you notice that gives you 10 by 7.5. We would have to change to portrait, but still 7.5 by 10. It's as though they're planning your margins for you. They didn't give you the full 8.5 by 11 page. That might work fine. I haven't really tried it. I would just prefer to see the actual 8.5 by 11 inch page. And so I'll click OK. And when I click OK, it gives me an option now which way I want to handle these drawing objects. What do I want to scale them to the new slide size, or do I want to maximize their size? I think in this context maximizing would mean keep the original size. I want to keep everything in its original size, so I'll choose that option. And now you see everything is hanging off the left end of the page there, but that's not a problem. I'll just hit Control A to select it all and then use my arrow keys to bring it where I want to the center of the page. Change it up or down also if you wanted to. Now, when you do this in PowerPoint, that changes the size of every slide in the file. So pages that do not yet contain any diagramming, as you see, are now also 8.5 by 11. So you wouldn't want to actually do this resizing in PowerPoint until you're sure you're finished with your diagram.